the presidential aspirant now faces 4 petitions questioning his 2022 bid. And a day before releasing her new album, award-winning singer-songwriter Adele debuts another song online. We begin with yet another incident in the West Philippine Sea. The government condemning China's move to block and use water cannons on 2 Philippine supply boats in Ayungin Shoal, an act caught on camera. The Foreign Affairs Department calls it illegal and says the Chinese vessels must back off and leave the area. Our Tristan Odalo has more.
This was the footage shared by National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon taken on November 16. Filipino crew resisting orders from the Chinese Coast Guard vessels. A few seconds later, the crew on board supply boats were blocked on their way and encountered water cannon. In a series of tweets on Thursday, the DFA says that the supply boats were transporting food to military personnel in Ayungin Shoal. Also known as Second Thomas Shoal, it is part of the country's exclusive economic zone and the Kalayaan group of islands in Palawan province. No one was hurt in the incidents, but the supply boats aborted their mission because of the encounter with the Chinese Coast Guard. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin Jr. has conveyed in strongest terms to Chinese Ambassador Wang Zhilian and the Chinese Foreign Ministry the country's outrage, condemnation, and protest. Esperon, also the chairman of the National Task Force West Philippine Sea, said the supply mission will resume regardless of the incident. He adds the Philippines will continue to protest China's illegal acts.
Dalawa yung nag-block, and then yung pangatlo, that was the one that water cannon the two for 1 hour.
The DFA also reminds China that an attack on any public vessel could fall under the provisions of the Mutual Defense Treaty between the Philippines and the United States. But for an international and security expert, invoking the treaty in this incident is still a gray area.
Gray area phenomenon kasi hindi siya leading to military conflict kumbaga law enforcement aspect yan. So mahirap pang i-invoke yung Mutual Defense Treaty kaya dapat mapag-usapan din yan ng Pilipinas at ng Estados Unidos kung anong situations at anong occasions na pwedeng ma-invoke yung Mutual Defense Treaty.
The government is not sending Navy ships to Ayungin, but Coast Guard ships and Bureau of Fisheries vessels will be on standby. Apart from the blocking and water cannon incident, Esperon also raises concerns on the increasing and quote unusual number of Chinese militia vessels in Ayungin Shoal and Pag-asa Island.
Just last month, the Philippine government also filed a series of diplomatic protests against China for issuing hundreds of radio challenges to Philippine vessels conducting maritime patrols in the West Philippine Sea. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Now, when asked for comment, the Chinese embassy here in Manila says its foreign ministry is expected to release a response soon. The local government of Kalayaan municipality in Palawan also condemns the incident in Ayungin Shoal. Ayungin Shoal is part of the Kalayaan group of islands in the province. It lies 105 nautical miles from Palawan, well within the Philippine exclusive economic zone. It's also part of the country's continental shelf. But China is still claiming Ayungin as well as the rest of the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Navy deliberately ran the BRP Sierra Madre aground in 1999 after China occupied the nearby Mischief Reef. The Sierra Madre is now the only thing keeping China from occupying Ayungin Shoal. Lawmakers also up in arms about China's recent aggression in the shoal. Senator Richard Gordon says he supports the Foreign Affairs Department's condemnation and protest against the illegal acts of the Chinese Coast Guard. Senator Risa Ontiveros shares the same view, saying what happened is an unacceptable violation of the country's sovereign rights and jurisdiction. She calls on Malacanang to strongly condemn the incident. Vice presidential aspirant Senator Kiko Pangilinan, meanwhile, opposes moves to occupy Philippine territories, as well as efforts to sell power and telecommunications assets to what he says are businessmen from the mainland. Other senators running for the country's top posts next year had this to say.
Satisfied, ano? Kaya ang aming maging polisiya dito, makipag-alliance tayo doon sa malalakas na bansa, yung mga militarily strong countries, like meron man tayo existing mga bilateral agreements with them. Umasa tayo doon sa tinatawag na balance of power, na makipag-alyansa tayo, hindi yung parang push over na lang tayo.
Tinataboy, may nasaktan o wala, baka panahon na talaga na medyo, di naman parang veiled threat, no? Pero dapat siguro i-highlight natin uli ang mga provisions ng Mutual Defense Treaty. Sapagkat yun ang panlaban dyan eh. Ang alam ko, meron doon na sinasabi na pagka tayo nagkaroon ng kahit na a form of aggression, papasok yung the Mutual Defense Treaty will kick in.
Another presidential aspirant, Vice President Leni Robredo, says the latest harassment by Chinese Coast Guard vessels emphasizes the need to show a stronger stance in asserting Philippine sovereignty. Another hopeful, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, says that if elected president, he will be fearless in fighting for the country's territorial waters and at the same time will be fair with discussions and the management of the situation on both sides. The United States reaffirming its support to the country's arbitral award that invalidates China's claims in disputed waters. That is according to a statement from the U.S. State Department at the 9th Bilateral Strategic Dialogue earlier this week. Washington also standing by the application of the Mutual Defense Treaty with the Philippines in case of an armed attack on the country's forces or vessels in the South China Sea. The bilateral talks concluded with the signing of a joint vision statement to strengthen cooperation and relations. The presidential bid of the late dictator's son and namesake is shaping up to be the most legally challenged in recent election history. Bongbong Marcos is now facing 4 petitions to stop him from joining the race to Malacanang. As Melissa Lopez reports, Marcos also hired a veteran lawyer who was his father's Solicitor General.
Former Senator Bongbong Marcos's attempt to bring his family back to Malacanang is facing legal hurdles, with 4 petitions now blocking his presidential dreams. But his lawyers missed the November 16 deadline to formally respond to the first of the pleas to cancel his certificate of candidacy. They asked for an additional week to prepare their answer. On Thursday morning, Marcos lawyer Vic Rodriguez claimed that COMELEC has already granted the extension hours before the poll body's 2nd Division made its decision.
It was approved yesterday. We were given an extension of time to file our answer to the petition. The first petition, I think, the cancellation of the COC, I think we were granted 7 days from notice.
Sabi sila na sabi, wala naman silang karapatan magsabi niya. Till the promulgation comes out, you have nothing. You have speculation. That's all you have. Pinaka-importante is we wait for what the COMELEC promulgates.
This is not the first time COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez called out the Marcos camp for making inaccurate claims. The Marcos team also hired veteran lawyer Estelito Mendoza, now 91, to defend Bongbong Marcos against such petitions. He was a longtime Solicitor General of the late President Ferdinand Marcos during martial law. A preliminary conference on the case filed by lawyer Theodore Te is set on November 26th, while other petitions await action. There's another plea to cancel Bongbong's COC filed by independent presidential hopeful Tiburcio Marcos. A disqualification case filed by 18 survivors of human rights abuses during martial law, and fellow presidential bet Danilo Lihay-Lihay, who wants to declare Bongbong a nuisance candidate. They all stemmed from Marcos's conviction for not filing his income tax returns for 4 years, which petitioners say banned him from holding any government post for life. COMELEC has yet to resolve all 4 petitions. Although the complaints vary, they all seek to stop Bongbong's presidential ambition. As for the Marcos camp, they dismissed the petitions as nothing but black propaganda. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
The COMELEC 2nd Division gave Marcos until Monday, November 22nd, to respond to the first petition to cancel his candidacy. But Attorney Te, the petitioner in the case, said he will contest the poll body's decision. New petitions against Bongbong Marcos come on the 5th anniversary of the burial of his father, Ferdinand Marcos, at the Libingan ng Mga Bayani in Taguig. Martial law victims and human rights groups staged a protest there today after holding a caravan from the University of the Philippines in Diliman. They protested the presidential run of the late dictator's son and namesake, as well as his tandem with vice presidential aspirant Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. They also rejected the notion that the older Marcos or the elder Marcos was a hero. Lawmaker and senatorial aspirant Nery Colmenares, who was one of the protesters, says anyone who denies that Marcos Sr. was, quote, a corrupt and fascist dictator does not deserve to be president of the country. Marcos Sr. was buried at the Libingan ng mga Bayani in 2016, a longtime wish that President Rodrigo Duterte granted. The burial had sparked outrage and nationwide protests, with martial law victims and groups vowing to never forget Marcos's iron rule. Now, what's so special about a president's first 100 days in office? This usually takes on a symbolic significance to mark how the country's new leader is doing, the speed by which he or she delivers on campaign promises, and how he or she is addressing the most pressing issues one by one. 5 presidential aspirants presented that plan to business leaders today, but as Anjo Alimario tells us, 2 candidates were no-shows.
5 presidential hopefuls make a pitch to business leaders that their economic agenda will bring recovery once they get elected into office. In recorded messages, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, Senators Bongo, Panfilo Lacson, and Manny Pacquiao, and Vice President Nelly Robredo took on the challenge in the Philippine Business Conference Expo's Presidential's Forum. Moreno says he will devote the first 2 years of his administration to reinforcing the health system to best cope with the pandemic. He'll push for lower taxes on fuel and electricity, address the housing backlogs, and give equal opportunity and level playing field in the business sector.
I will be fearless confronting problems. We will be fair in addressing it.
Forgo, why fix if it ain't broken? He vows to continue the Duterte administration's programs and will concentrate on doubling malasakit centers, or the chain of one-stop shop medical and financial centers nationwide, identify 10 million poorest Filipinos and give them cash aid and jobs. He also wants to establish a regulatory body for the franchise industry.
Hindi ko hahayaan na masayang lang ang lahat ng pagod at efforts ng Duterte administration. Hindi natin sisirain ang legacy ni Pangulong Duterte.
Lacson is banking on his track record as a senator. He says his administration will spend more for the right priorities to reboot the economy. There will be a geotagging system to provide data for all public infrastructure projects. He also promises to clean the agriculture department from top to bottom ranks.
If I win, I want to be remembered as someone who won the election in spite of being the most boring candidate who insisted on campaigning on hard data of issues.
The People's Champ says he will send corrupt officials to jail. He says he'll also push for lowering of corporate income tax to 15%, address power supply and internet connectivity. On agriculture, he believes the country should be exporting and not importing foods such as rice.
Gusto ko po maalala ko ng taong bayan na ang Manny Pacquiao nagmamahal ng tunay sa ating mga kababayan. Nagmamahal ng tunay sa ating bansa.
Robredo touts her kalayaan sa COVID-19 plan. For those who lost their jobs during the pandemic, she'll create a national unemployment insurance program that will provide financial assistance. On infrastructure, Robredo says the immediate goal is to create a nationwide active transport infrastructure in most traffic-congested areas. She vows to double the budget for education and agriculture.
A vice president who transformed her office mandate and did not allow the limitations to keep her from doing the work that matters. Someone who rose above any challenge, any difficulty, and always answered the call to serve, no matter the cost.
Survey frontrunner former Senator Bongbong Marcos was a no-show. Calio de Guzman, however, was not invited in the forum. Anjo Alimario, CNN Philippines.
When we return, the Senate suspends sessions until Monday after Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, who was there Wednesday night, tested positive for COVID-19. How will this affect deliberations on the proposed 2022 budget? And we take a look at the preparations in various universities ahead of the reopening of face-to-face classes. Stay tuned.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalayan Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Panahon at madalas ang ulan, pero di kailangan magtiis na maligo ng malamig na tubig. Heto ang bright idea namin mula kay Engineer Joel.
Kaya ng budget maligo ng mainit, mapa-deep type water heater, electric kettle, o shower heater. Pero payo namin, mag-shower heater. Pinakamura, pinakamadali, at pinaka-safe dahil iwas paso or electric shocks.
Hanggang sa susunod na Meralco Advisory.
Love is all about time. Di minamadali ang pagpapasarap. Like the love in every Pure Foods ready to eat. Slow cooked and ready in 8 minutes. Para may time ka sa mga mahal mo. Because love takes time.
Kabilang ba kayo sa mga Pilipino na nahihirapan sa mga transaksyon dahil wala o kulang ang mga valid IDs?
Huwag nang mag-alala dahil narito na po ang PhilSys, ang identification system ng bawat Pilipino.
Para sa Step 1 registration, pumunta lang sa register.philsys.gov.ph para makapag-register sa PhilSys online. Ito ang PhilSys, ID natin to.
Discovery Plus is here! Welcome to your new home of larger-than-life entertainment and unforgettable characters. Subscribe now at 129 pesos per month.
Bawat patak, may sarap, may lakas, sulit. Red Horse Beer.
In residents enjoy easier access to the kind of water we all deserve. This is thanks to SMC Infrastructure's Bulacan Bulk Water Supply System project, a treatment facility that provides affordable and potable bulk water to the 24 municipalities of Bulacan. It produces an average volume of 160 million liters per day for around 165,000 households. It also has a maximum capacity of 388 million liters per day. This meets the increasing water demand of Bulaqueños. The project also cuts down the use of deep wells, helping mitigate the environmental impact of excessive groundwater extraction. The Bulacan Bulk Water Supply System project provides Bulaqueños the affordable and reliable potable water supply they need.
Welcome back to Newsnight. While experts note the continuous drop in COVID-19 cases, the country records over 300 deaths for the second straight day. The health department says 305 people died from the virus. However, only 36 of these occurred this month. 44%, or about 134 fatalities, were recorded in October, while 35%, or 107, in September. The DOH says the late reporting was because of delays in encoding. Total deaths are now over 46,400. The DOH also reports nearly 1,300 fresh cases, pushing the nationwide tally to over 2.8 million. But the agency says the positivity rate slightly fell to 3.4%. This is the sixth straight day the figure has been below 5%. The World Health Organization says countries or regions may reopen if they are able to keep their positivity rate below 5% for at least 14 days. Meantime, over 1,900 people got well from the virus. This means 97.5% or more than 2.7 million have recovered. 4 laboratories failed to submit data. Deliberations on the proposed 2022 national budget face a setback as the Senate suspends sessions until Monday. That's after Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, who was present during a hearing on Tuesday, not Wednesday, as we said earlier, again tested positive for COVID-19. Lorenzana's swab test result came out yesterday. The official, who is fully vaccinated, says he has no symptoms and will undergo another test in the coming days after observing his condition. Lorenzana arrived on Sunday from a trip to Poland. He did not undergo quarantine as Poland belongs to green list countries. Disinfection is underway in the Senate building. There will also be tighter rules for visitors. Senators underwent antigen tests yesterday after Lorenzana's results came out. Senator Migsubidi says those who actively participated on the floor had negative antigen results, but they will still undergo quarantine and RT-PCR testing on Sunday. Senator Joel Villanueva, who says he tested negative in the antigen test, was seen shaking hands with Lorenzana in a photograph the senator himself provided. Experts have discouraged shaking hands to minimize contact with others and prevent the spread of the virus. Meanwhile, Senate President Tito Sotto says they will work fast to finish the budget debates on time. Based on the budget calendar, the bicameral conference must begin on the first week of December to transmit the budget to the Office of the President by December 17th.
So what happened? We will have to try Monday, finish everything until the wee hours of the morning. But if we do have to extend until Tuesday, what we would need would be a double time work by the LBRMO. We were supposed to propose amendments next week. So, bibilisan na lang din yan. Medyo mag-overtime na rin.
Soto says they may extend until December 21st if they do not meet the deadline. Also, in December, some universities may start welcoming students again after the government allowed limited in-person classes in areas under alert levels 1, 2, and 3. And how are preparations coming along? Our AC Nichols visited one university in Manila where inoculations have begun for students and almost all of its staff have been vaccinated.
Architecture student Celeron Lim is back in the campus for the first time in a while. He is here to get vaccinated against COVID-19.
Kung mag-aantay ako ng iba, so matatagalan. So ito, sakto, yung sarili ko pang school yung nag-provide. Excited na ako mag-face-to-face para makapaglabas-labas na rin pag vaccinated na.
In preparation for the safe resumption of face-to-face classes, the University of the East partnered with the Philippine Red Cross to get more of its students and faculty vaccinated. The university says 98% of its faculty are fully vaccinated. Now, they want to ensure all students get inoculated as well, as majority want to go back to the classroom setup.
Andun yung nakikita nating college life, yung campus life, and of course yung education na mabibigay sa atin na face-to-face setup.
There are physical preparations as well. Classrooms and other common areas have been retrofitted for the new normal. Signs and posters reminding people to follow health protocols are put up all over the campus. Dentistry students are set to return in these laboratories by next week. Some dental chairs are covered in plastic to ensure physical distancing. The Pandemic Task Force recently approved the Commission on Higher Education's proposal to resume physical classes for all courses in areas under low alert levels. A 50% indoor venue capacity must be followed.
Pag-decided na rin sa IATF na pagka-alert level, titingnan namin na alert level 2 or level 1, we will be more flexible na the decision will be with the regional CHED at saka DepEd and also with the LGUs. So yun ang tinitingnan namin na most probably yung future opening natin will be more massive.
AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
Is the definition of fully vaccinated changing? For wealthier nations, people may now need up to 3 doses instead of just 2 to be considered fully inoculated. Many European countries are toughening rules on the unvaccinated and mandating booster shots amid case surges fueled by the Delta variant. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says a 3rd dose is vital to prevent restrictions from being re-implemented. France will require boosters for the elderly beginning December 15th. In Ireland, a midnight curfew is in effect in bars, restaurants, and nightclubs to reduce infections. Now, that's despite the country having one of the highest vaccination rates globally at 94%. The Irish government plans to offer 3rd shots to those with underlying health conditions and those aged 50 and above.
About 5% are not fully vaccinated, but about 50% of people in hospital and ICU are not fully vaccinated. So even that 5% can create a lot of difficulty. And then also, it's very evident now that immunity from the vaccines is waning. And we can see that happening across Europe. And that's why we're going to need to give people a third dose. And that's what we're pushing ahead with now at present.
Germany, meanwhile, may be next to impose new measures. The nation reported more than 65,000 infections in the last 24 hours, its highest daily case count since the pandemic began. Germany has one of the lowest immunization rates in Western Europe at just over 67%. Global experts, however, fear the reliance on additional doses. The World Health Organization chief says it is, quote, a scandal that 6 times more booster shots are being administered daily globally than primary doses in low-income nations. Up ahead, music sensations BTS and Coldplay are set to share the stage at this year's American Music Awards. And a sneak peek at Adele's newest heartbreak anthem in her latest album. Details next.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid ay ginhawa.
Nutri Chunks.
When you need to be tough outside, you gotta be clean inside. Petron Diesel Max keeps your engine clean and protects it against corrosion, so nothing gets in the way of your engine's power. That's why it's the most widely used diesel among four-wheel users in urban Philippines. Petron Diesel Max. Tough outside, clean inside.
We'll be making a strawberry martini, a great way to level up a special occasion. Here's what you'll be needing for this cocktail. For the tools, you'll need... We start by adding ice into our mixing glass, and in goes your GSM Premium Gin. And then we add our dry vermouth. Finally, the strawberry syrup for some sweetness. Now take your bar spoon. Once it's all blended nicely, grab your strainer and pour your cocktail into your martini glass. Garnish this with some fresh strawberries. There you have it, your strawberry martini made with GSM Premium Gin.
Welcome back. Pop star pair Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello have called it quits after 2 years of dating. Both singers posted on their Instagram stories saying that they will remain best friends even after the breakup. The two began the relationship in 2019 following the success of their hit collaboration, Señorita. Speaking of collaborations, it looks like BTS and Coldplay fans will finally get to see the two worldwide sensations perform together. The English band already played My Universe in a talk show last month, but back then BTS could only join them as holograms. This time, both groups are set to take on the American Music Awards stage with their chart-topping single in person. And there's more in store for the BTS Army. The K-pop group is also teaming up with rapper Megan Thee Stallion for a performance of Butter. The show airs next Monday, 9 a.m. Philippine time. And before we go, powerhouse vocalist Adele gave fans a taste of her next album a day before release. The British singer posted herself singing To Be Loved right from the comfort of her couch. It is one of 12 songs on her fourth studio album 30 that's set to come out tomorrow. Here's a sneak peek at Adele singing her heart-wrenching new track.
To lose all the things I can't live without.
Easy on Me, the first single of 30, dominated the Billboard Global 200 chart. It took the #1 spot for 4 weeks straight. It is 37 days before Christmas, and that is it for now. Join me again on news.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Altaveras for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
O, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya.